it was nearly from day one where I stepped into, and this is probably, you have similar experiences, a fairly, somewhat traditional industry that had done things a certain way for quite a long time. The folks who were there said, sure, works fine. Why change things at this point? Over in the insurance side of things, how that would have looked 15 years ago was, now there's some technology, but everything's done on Word documents, and we're signing things with wet signatures, and we're really doing things in a way that you would think is best for insurance if it was transacted across a dining room table, not in a big corporate setting that you'd expect lots of efficiency trying to be driven into that process. And so, I think the very first piece of automation I was ever doing was taking some of these processes I was doing as a young underwriter in the insurance industry, and finding ways to essentially positively be lazy, right? Automate my job just a little bit, and get some of that time back to spend with people, to drive value. And so the first place to look for automation is, what is it that doesn't excite you about what you're doing, and is there actually something you could do with that? When I was thinking about this 15 years ago, let's say, as a younger person in the industry, what people told me to not worry about was paper. Everything being transacted on paper, because everyone says we're going to go paperless. This will be fine. The reality is, we still transact so many of our processes on paper. You're probably doing your taxes. You're probably getting that on paper at a certain point. The insurance industry, there's tons of paper flying around. So what I'd say is, just as a good colleague at these companies have to deal with, they're starting with typically emails and documents that are scanned or faxed, and there's a lot of unstructured text, unstructured information in those emails. There's a lot of semi-structured information within these documents, and I would say job number one is getting access to the data to be able to understand what you're working with. On the document side, that could be more straightforward if there's some structure to those documents you're working with. On the emails, this is where some of the AI and machine learning technology comes in, natural language processing, where we are building intelligent digital coworkers, we like to call them, that can understand and catalog and also extract bits from those unstructured emails and whatnot to be able to kick the process off. We also then interact with systems after that. But I would say, let's start with where you need to start, which is gaining access to the data, understand what's on our plate to work with, and then we could launch from there. I think we're in a very interesting time, because not only is technology better than it was only 4 years ago, but it's potentially even easier to implement than it's ever been. So I think the ability to take the latest and greatest technology, mostly we're talking about AI capabilities here, and plug that into your business process, no matter what industry you're in, it's never been easier. Though you do have to have not just technical capabilities to do that, which we said are less than ever, but it's the human capacity to change that I think everybody needs to look internally in their own organizations and say, how do I inspire? How do I encourage? And how do we thrive in an environment that is going to be change heavy? And do I have the team that's going to be excited about change, or do I have a team that's going to be fearful of change? And you probably have both. So how do I get them nudged over to the side that's going to get excited? When I think about where to start, and where to start both automating as well as leveraging AI technology, it's, where do you have high volume? So it sounds cool to apply this, let's say, to the close of a sale, because I want to move that from 90 to 20%. But the reality is, I only have very few of those opportunities to feed in data, to learn from, to be able to apply intelligence to. Whereas the automated outreach, maybe to try to find prospects in the first place, or the bill collection process, which happens 1,000 times every month. Now that has volume to it that can be applied, and intelligence can be applied and automated with a bit more ease, and also return on investment for yourself. Founder-led sales are the highest close rate as well. Why is that? And I think it's because we can realistically sit across from the customer and say, I've been there, I feel your pain, I speak your language, right? Where maybe a new salesperson has a harder time convincingly do. And if there is one thing that I'm skeptical that these AI tools, these language models are going to be able to do, at least in the next 5 years, is to convince a customer that they can, that they can sell, and they feel their pain. So I think humans have a long sales career ahead of them, and that's not going to be a problem anytime soon.